This is video number 2 in the series of top-down prospecting with HGSI and Thinkorswim, and I'm still on the same page where I was, or the same views where I was when I ended the prior video looking at GE Healthcare Technologies. Now, I mentioned in one video over the weekend that I've also been changing some charts and adding a few charts and so on. But I want to point out that if you just drop down under my most used charts to 1A, this has the support and resistance lines turned on, and it's just kind of a nice visual where you can see support right down here, stopping volume, and at the same time I'm going to click on this area up here, and it says an up bar closing near its high confirms return of strength stopping volume. Normally indicates the end of bearishness, and that was right on the low, and then it did come back, but it formed a higher low. You can see the low right here with this dotted support line, and then it's taken off, and you're going to run into some it's blown past these resistance lines, and you're going to run into some resistance up here based upon these lines. But it's just a nice visual. It doesn't mean these stocks are going to run into that and just stop, or they're going to necessarily find support on them. But I just wanted to put these in here for my use and hopefully for your use. I'm going to go back to this, and let's go back and repeat this process one more time. I'm going to go from the healthcare sector, and I'm just going to go back up here, scroll up to under market analysis, user groups, and then the insights. I'm still in top-down analysis with this view. You can see that not a lot has changed here in the past several minutes, but I am going to go through this process one more time to show you that I'm going top down with the sectors. And consumer discretionary sector is number 2. Now the healthcare sector is still up here leading the way, but consumer discretionary, and then materials, and then the industrial sector. I think I'll go to the industrial sector. You can see that these crossed down several days ago, but the VPOC crossed up 2 days ago on this sector. So let's look at the LI right here. Bring up an arrow, and I'll show you where the VPOC crossed over. Now we're getting some more really good VPA flags here, and effort to rise, and then a test here. So I'm going to get rid of my arrow, and then I'm going to click on this right here. So all of these VPA flags are going to show up here in this line. Strength seen returning after a downtrend. High volume up bar on the high indicates strength. Effort to rise, which is a bullish sign. All 3 of those were here, and let's bring the arrow back up, and after this move here on higher volume, notice that it gapped higher here, or didn't gap. Yes, it did gap higher. Then it closed down, but these are small bodies, and also look at the lack of volume on the selling. So now, as of today, this is intraday with about an hour left in the market. We're getting a test for supply here, and this is generated because the stock is trading in the upper end of its trading range, and the volume so far, the green part of this bar, is not up to the 90 period moving average. So relatively light volume so far, but if it gets to the projected volume where the magenta line is, then it'll be slightly heavier than the prior 2 days. Anyway, it's holding support. The weekly chart over here, it's been in an uptrend, and you can see there was 3 weeks of selling, and then it's starting to hold here, and this represents Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week on the weekly chart. So it's possibly a spider that you could follow, maybe trade some options, spreads, or whatever it's setting up. It may or may not go, but right now we are seeing what are called signs of strength. But let's go into the XLI here. And to do that, remember, just click on this and go down to find the XLI and look at the industrials. Looks like aircrafts and parts are in there, and looks like this is the big winner here. TDG, let's take at it. Oh, very expensive stock. I don't think, wow, you have to be institutional to trade that one. And options, if it has options, are going to be ridiculously, the spread would be ridiculous on them. So Northrop Grumman, Howmet Aerospace, aircraft and parts and defense primes, and then airlines. So let's see what's holding up the best here as far as daily range. And what is this? This is a waste management. These are all in the industrial sector. I'm going to take a look at Howmet Aerospace. It's expensive, but not ridiculously expensive. So what do we have here? Let's take a look at this. I'm going to bring my arrow up again. The 3 crossed the 6 2 days ago, and the VPOC 3 days ago. The VPOC crossed 4 days ago. You can see the VPOC crossed here, and 3 days ago, not counting today, was right here. And what do we have? We had strength coming in, and then a confirmation of that strength. And it really hasn't moved much. If I go over here and look at the weekly chart, you can see a series of, starting back here. I'm going to turn my timer off. And let's draw a line here. There's one line, and then if you fan it out from here, you can see a series of higher highs and higher lows on the weekly chart. It just updated, as you can see. And generally, it's been outperforming the S&P. But this is a very strong stock. It doesn't look so strong in this view right here. But if I make this full screen, zoom out a little bit here, you can see that this has been a strong stock, and the fan is in place. Here's the 200, the 100, the 50, and the brown line, which is hard to see, is the 18. That represents the fan. So we had a strong weekly chart. Let me wipe these off now. We have a strong weekly chart, and we have a stock that it moved up nicely. It pulled back, and now it looks like it's setting up again. So this signal right here was strength seen returning after a downtrend. And then this one next to it is an up bar closing near its high. That confirms the strength of this BPA flag, and there was also an effort to rise. Slight pullback. Volume was a little heavier on this day right here, but notice where it closed in its daily range. What does this tell you? It tells you that it was selling off, but buyers came back in to support it and close it at about 2/3 of its daily range. And then today, in a market that is really doing nothing, it is taking off again. Well, I shouldn't say taking off, but it's got a nice white candle and the volume is light here. It has been a wild, uncertain day tomorrow. The markets are closed tomorrow because of Jimmy Carter's funeral. So there's not a lot getting on. The California wildfires are devastating. So I think traders are just kind of stepping back. I want to bring this in and show you from my other screen and just show you what this day has been like. This is a SPY. This is overnight pre-market since the market opened today. This is what we've seen. It's just been wild and uncertain. It's got no direction to it as I'm doing this. The comp is down 0.11% is all, but unless you're very quick with your decision making, a market like this can beat you up in a hurry. Okay, I'm going to minimize this. This movie's getting about the right length, so I'm not going to do any more, but just I think if you try this top-down method, you're going to like it because with this one warehouse view, we get a real sense of the strength of the intraday markets, or the end of day and the intraday markets, and then you can, if you're interested in the individual stocks within the sectors, you can just drop down to those sectors and look at the stocks. And then you can apply other scans to them, and I'll do that in another video. Thank you for listening.